So, Psalm 57. To the chief musician, Altus chith Michtam of David, when he fled from Saul in the cave. Be merciful unto me, O God, be merciful unto me, for my soul trusteth in thee. Yea, in the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge, until these calamities be overpast. I will cry unto God most high, unto God that performeth all things for me. He shall send from heaven and save me from the reproach of him that would swallow me. Selah. God shall send forth his mercy and his truth. My soul is among lions, and I lie even among them that are set on fire, even the sons of men whose teeth are spears and arrows, and they turn a sharp sword. Be thou exalted, O God, above the heavens. Let thy glory be above all the earth. They have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. They have digged a pit before me into the midst whereof they have fallen themselves. Selah. My heart is fixed, O God, my heart is fixed. I will sing and give praise. Awake up, my glory, awake. Psaltery and harp, I myself will awake early. I will praise thee, O Lord, among the peoples. I will sing unto thee among the nations. Thy mercy is greater to the heavens, and thy truth unto the clouds. Be thou exalted, O God, above the heavens. Let thy glory be above all the earth. Amen.
We're going to turn to Psalm 57 for this morning and this evening. I don't know if there have been times when you have felt perhaps greatly wronged or deeply hurt, times when you felt let down, times when you feel you'll never get over your past, perhaps you cannot see a way forward, times when what you're expected to bear is beyond your ability to endure, that you might have reached a breaking point in your life. If you've ever been there, you're in good company, because Job regretted the day he was ever born. Elijah longed for the day of his death, and what had he done with life? You've got Jacob, who could say all these things are against me. And the Apostle Paul could say that we despair even of life. We have the sentence of death written in ourselves. And David is in such a situation. In this psalm, Psalm 57, he shares all of his emotions and all that he feels going through a time like that. And David, of course, could once said on one occasion, I will one day perish at the hand of Saul, thinking he would never get beyond this time of Saul's relentless pursuit of him. And Psalm 57 is such a help to us, because we see in Psalm 57 something of a process, something of a journey where David is able to triumph over and above trial. And, you pick up these books sometimes, don't you? And the 7 keys to successful Christian living. And we have these formulas. Well, we don't have so much a formula here. What we have is a process or a journey. And it's not just true of this psalm, it's true of many of the psalms. And so we're going to follow David's steps through this psalm. How in the midst of trial he is able to emerge in triumph. And we see at the very beginning David, a man with problems. And then secondly, we see David as a man in prayer. And then thirdly, we see David as a man at peace. And then lastly, we see David as a man above in praise. So there's that journey that we see through this psalm with David. So we look at David as a man with problems to begin with this morning. And David writes in this psalm of being overwhelmed. He writes of being hemmed in and being cornered. He writes of his enemies like ravenous beasts. He writes of tongues and teeth and of being maligned and misrepresented. And David is having to learn to leave his reputation, his protection, with the Lord and trust in him. But all of these things David keenly feels. And he feels let down again and again. There have been several attempts on his life up to this point. He has been betrayed by the city of Keilah. They were being besieged by the Philistines, and David went to their rescue. And all the thanks that he had was being handed over to Saul. And then again the Ziphites also, who should have befriended him, turned against him. So David feels let down, disappointed. There's no really where to turn, who to trust. And there are these problems that David is having to handle and deal with. And it can be like that in our lives as believers. Now, problems come our way because, on the one hand, we are human. And we are part of what is a fallen race, a fallen humanity. And all of the resentment, the bitterness, the jealousy, the selfishness, all that is a part of fallen nature. We live in the midst of all of that. And so often, in marriage, in work, in relationships, even in church, we can get disappointed, we can get let down, and people do not rise to our expectations. I remember when I was not long saved and working underground and travelling to the face and on the trams, and apostolic brother opposite me, and I was sharing with him about our fellowship and joys of the Lord's day. He put his hands on my knee and he said, Andrew, never look to man. You'll be disappointed, never look to man. And we do get let down, we do get disappointed. And David knew something of that, of living amidst a fallen humanity. And not only by way of a fallen humanity, but physically. Paul wrote of that process, didn't he, of wasting away. Though outwardly in Corinthians, he says, we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are renewed or replenished day by day. But outwardly there is that process of wasting away. There's a process of deterioration. And as you get older, you lose your hearing, you lose your sight, you lose your agility, you lose your health and well-being, and you can lose partners. And some of the greatest problems and challenges come as we get older in the Christian life. And that's a part of being in this process of wasting away outwardly. Yeah, Paul said inwardly everything is completely different. We can be renewed inwardly to face what are these problems outwardly. But we face problems just by way of being human. We read from it that man is born into trouble as the sparks fly upward. That's part of life. And then there are problems that come our way because we are Christian. And we see that so clearly set out for us in the book of Job, where Job has to weather calamity upon calamity. And with this loss of fortune and wealth and standing, breakup in home and family, deterioration in health and reputation. The great issue as we're taken behind the scenes in the book of Job is Job's faith. To what extent can this man still trust in God when he is stripped of everything? How is he going to react and how will he respond? And that's the great issue in the book of Job. And we find that again at the beginning. Job can fall to his knees and instinctively, by way of his spirituality, can say, naked I came out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. Blessed be the name of the Lord. He falls down before God in worship and takes the eternal perspective of things. That's his knee-jerk initial spiritual reaction to what happens. But we know as you make your way through the book of Job, he knows the way that I take. I don't know. I don't know what is happening, what can ever come out of all this. But he knows the way that I take. And then he can write, isn't he, when he hath tried me, I will come forth as gold. God hasn't finished it yet. There are yet brighter, more glorious times ahead, spiritually. And you see this with Job, this faith. He is weathering all of these things. I know though worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see God. There's a faith of Job that rises above it all. And it was St. Augustine that said that trials, they not only prove, they improve us. They not only demonstrate our faith, they increase and strengthen and deepen our faith. And there's a hymn of John Newton, a favourite of mine. He's known, of course, isn't he, for Amazing Grace, and that wonderful hymn, so it's a well-known hymn. But there's a hymn that he wrote when he was getting older, and he lost his wife, and everything seemed against him. And he puts it all down in verse. I ask the Lord that I might grow in faith and love and every grace, might more of his salvation know, seek more earnestly his face. Instead of this, he made me feel the hidden evils of my heart. Let all the angry powers of hell assault my soul in every part. Lord, why is this, I trembling cried? Wilt thou pursue thy worm to death? 'Tis in this way, the Lord replied, I answer prayer for grace and faith. These inward trials I employ from self and pride to set thee free. Break thy schemes of earthly joy, that there thou mayst find thine all in me. And we go through problems, not only because we're human, but also because we are Christian. And we can go through problems by way of home, and by way of finance, by way of health and work. We have our problems. But what we find here with David that is so helpful, that this man with his problems is seen, secondly, to be seen as a man in prayer. And look at verse 1. Be merciful unto me, O God. Be merciful unto me. For my soul trusts in thee. Yea, in the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge until these calamities be overpast. He is taking this whole situation to the Lord in prayer. Now, what we find here in so many of the Psalms is that prayer is pivotal. It marks the turning point. Again and again, you go home and read Psalm 107, and you have that refrain again and again and again and again and again through Psalm 107. They cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them out of their distress. Again and again. Prayer is the turning point in every situation in that psalm, on sea or land, whatever. Prayer is the turning point. And so we find here for David. Now we see also, don't we, in the life of Hannah, or Hezekiah, or Jehoshaphat. You'll see again and again. Look at the early church when they resort to prayer. Their first meeting as a church isn't a business meeting, it's a prayer meeting. And they're bringing their concerns to God, and the prayers of the early church. And yet we see here with David something of his confidence in prayer. I will cry unto God Most High, and to God who performs all things for me. He shall send from heaven and save me from reproach from him that would swallow me up. God shall send forth his mercy and his truth. There's a certainty here in prayer, and it's a sad day for the believer when he loses that sense of intimacy, of spontaneity, vitality, and certainty of sharing everything with the Lord. And David now brings his concerns and his fears and his problems, and he takes them to the Lord in prayer. We sing, don't we, oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. All because we don't carry everything to God in prayer. But how do you come to this certainty in the heart of David in prayer? Well, to begin with, there's the mercy of God. Be merciful unto me, O God. Be merciful unto me. For my soul trusteth, yea, in the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge. He resorts to God's pardoning covenant love. We opened with that, our first song this morning. The goodness of the Lord, it never ceases. His mercies, they never come to an end. It's a rendering of Lamentations, isn't it, with Jeremiah? A lovely rendering of God's mercies. But the imagery here of wings and shadow is of the ark of the covenant and the mercy seat and the cherubim that overshadow, these angelic creatures overshadowing the mercy seat, and they are looking on in wonder and looking to each other in awe and amusement. And it's the mercy seat that crowns everything. And so you have the camp of Israel, and central to that is the tabernacle. Central to that is the Holy of Holies, and central to that is the Ark of the Covenant. And what crowns the Ark of the Covenant is the mercy seat. We are left with the impression of sheer awe and wonder that God is a God of mercy, that he delights in mercy, that he is rich in mercy. And what is mercy? How does it differ from grace? Someone once put it this way, that mercy is grace clothed with pity. That's mercy. Grace has to do with our wickedness. Where sin abounded, grace did much more abound. But mercy has to do with our wretchedness, the miseries that attend sin, the sense of shame and guilt and fear, and it's the heart of God going out to us in compassion for the mess that we are in by way of sin. And that's what David resorts to here. It is the mercies of God, that God would yet be merciful to him. One of the first songs I can remember singing, or hymns, the little chapel we went to down the road where I was brought up, was when all thy mercies, O my God, my rising soul surveys, transported with a view I'm lost in wonder, love, and praise. Yeah. And that's the response to the mercy of God. Yeah. It's one of gratitude, thanksgiving, of confidence. This is how God would have us see him, come to him. That is why the veil in the temple was rent. That God is now accessible as a God of pardoning love and tender mercies. That we can come to him. A way has been opened, consecrated for us. So the veil that is Christ's body. He has opened up a way into the Holy of Holies, the presence of God. No longer priests, altars, ritual, incense, no need of confessionals, none of these things. We can come directly and immediately to God as a God of mercy. I wonder the parable, was it the Pharisee, the publican, tax collector? God be merciful to me, a sinner. This man went down justified. And that's how we know sin's forgiven, where we cast ourselves upon the mercies of God. David had his failings, his inconsistencies, and his appeal here above all else is the mercy of God. Jeremiah in Lamentations, the background to that song we sang earlier in the service, at the beginning of the service. At the beginning of that chapter, Jeremiah feels everything and everybody is against him. He feels even God is against him. And then he begins to pause and reflect. And then he comes to this point. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions, they fail not. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. And that's what keeps us. That God is merciful. And in prayer, what are we urged? Well, he that spared not his own son, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? We come to the cross. We come to Calvary. And we see that the readiness, not reluctance, the readiness of God to give an incredible cost to himself, what will he not give to us this morning? Whatever our needs, whatever our concerns, we come, what, confident in the very mercy of God. But then also there's something else here, and that is the sovereignty of God. I will cry unto God most high, in verse 2 there. At the beginning of verse 2, I'll cry unto God who is most high, God who is over all. Comes to this, the end of the psalm. The sovereignty of God. God who is high above all things.
Amen.
God who is in control, complete control. So whatever might be your problem this morning, God is greater. Or your difficulty, God is greater.
Amen.
Whatever your fear this morning, God is greater. He is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. For his what? Love, his grace are such, none can ever ask too much. God is sovereign. There's a minister in California, ministered there for many years, Charles Swindoll. Enjoyed his books greatly over the years, his writings. And his approach to the sovereignty of God. I know many times last year I was asked, what do you do when you retire? What do you do now you retire? Well, Charles Swindoll, he bought a Harley Davidson. He and his wife joined the Harley Davidson club. They had problems with good enough getting a camper. No getting about Harley Davidson. Can't get. But Charles Swindoll, as a young minister, said, I struggled with the sovereignty of God. I struggled. So then I came to that point where I accepted, I embraced the sovereignty of God. He said, when Cynthia, my wife, had 2 miscarriages, it was the sovereignty of God that came to our aid. When we had that terrible car accident, again it was the sovereignty of God that was our help. And even now, says Charles Swindoll, in the highs and the lows, promotions, demotions, happiness, hardships, losses and gains of life, the sovereignty of God covers it all. Covers it all. That God is sovereign.
Yeah.
Working out his purpose. And so we can look to him as the God who is above and over all things. The Lord is King. Who then shall dare resist his will, distrust his care, or murmur at his wise decrees, or doubt his royal promises? God is sovereign. And so David comes to that. Not just the mercy of God, but the sovereignty of God, and then lastly, the activity of God. And we read here in the AV, I cry to God most high, to God that performs all things for me. The newer translations get nearer the mark. The newer translations have, who is working out his purpose for me. In and through it all, God is working out what is his purpose. And we have something of that, a God who is sovereignly working out his will and his design in and through all things. And it's all the plots, the schemes that David has to contend with. God is at work behind them all. And we know how in the cave system that David is at this point, we know Saul will be led into the cave to relieve himself where David's men are. And David's men are amazed at this. And they say, can you not see the providence of God here? God has delivered him into your hands, now get and kill him. And David sees it in a different light. Here is a God-given opportunity for me to show publicly what is in my heart, that I bear no ill will. And I can make known that to all. And that is why you have that word sailor that comes through twice in this psalm. It means really, wow. Now what do you think of that? That's what sailor means. Now what do you think of that? And you see here how God is sovereignly working out his will, his purpose. We see it fleshed out in the life of Joseph, don't we? How God is at work in and through it all. And God's plans for Israel, Jacob, for Joseph, Egypt. And God is working on so many levels, through all the hurt and all the pain and all the anguish. God is at work there. And Joseph can reach the point where he names his sons, is it Ephraim and Manasseh? He can name his sons. That tell everything of his attitude. God made me forget all the affliction of my father's house. So I left that behind and moved on from there. You know, as Christians, we can carry much baggage, can't we? And life becomes heavy going when we carry baggage. And there are times you just have to learn to sort of let things go and move on. You know, in God's word, you've dwelt long enough on this plateau, time to move on from here. And there are times like that we need to be up and be going, and what's done is done, and move on. And for Joseph, one son, name says it all, you made me fruitful in the land of my affliction. And God can do that. In and through all the heartache and the pain, God can do that. God working out his purpose. Romans 8:28, we quote it again and again, don't we? For we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, who are called according to his purpose. I love the Old Testament counterpart to that verse. Well, Griff and I were brought up in our fellowship. We had a lovely, dear old people that loved the Lord. And there was one, Will Jones, and he would love to sing and strike up the verse again and love the Lord and go for supper in his house and tears in his eyes. He'd share things with me, and as a young believer, we'd have blessed times together. But Will had swallowed dispensationalism to its extreme. Didn't believe in the Old Testament. We're New Testament believers. What do we want to be doing in the Old Testament? And he had all these verses, he had to argue about them. And then when he came to his funeral, the minister was a bit wry, and he gave a smile, said, well, the Lord is putting Will right on a few things now. And one thing Will certainly put it right was the Old Testament. That as New Testament believers, we enter into the Old Testament, all the light and the glory of the New Testament. And it's difficult for us to imagine how revolutionary it was for Isaac Watts. You know, his hymn, When I Survey the Wondrous Cross. He was such a revolutionary. Up to Isaac Watts' time, most congregations like us this morning would not sing at all. We did not sing. If we did sing, it was only at communion, it'd be one song. And that wasn't every Lord's Day. And those congregations that did sing used the Psalter. Twisted, contorted renderings of the Psalms. And Isaac Watts said, this is too inadequate. My heart is full of adoration to Christ and the glory of the gospel. I don't want to go into the Psalms and sing about slaying my enemies. He said, I want to go into the New Testament, all the glory and the light of Christ and the New Testament. When it was said that Isaac Watts opened a door that Charles Wesley marched through with his hymns. Wonderful story of hymnody and song. But the Old Testament is even more glorious for us as New Testament believers. I visited Will in hospital when he was dying, the new minister. He said, how are you getting on, Will? Oh, we're in Song of Solomon, Zachary. Well, time for the Old Testament. But listen to the Old Testament counterpart of Romans 8, verse 28. And let this go deep into your heart. I will make an everlasting covenant with you, that I will not turn away from doing you good. I will rejoice in doing you good with all my heart and with all my So, that's lovely, isn't it? That's the covenant. New covenant is more glorious than that. And so while there are things that might not seem good, first thing in the morning, my mother would get the cod liver oil, come on, this is going to do you good. It tastes going to be very good. And sometimes we go through times and through trials and we can't see what good can come of them. But we are assured that God will work out all things for good. Sometimes in time we see it, if not certainly in glory we will. When I stand with Christ in glory, looking all life's finished story, then, Lord, shall I fully know. But not till then how much I owe. And so for David, he's a man with problems, but also a man in prayer that brings all of these things to the Lord. Our encouragement that we have this morning. Again, Jeremiah. Tearful Jeremiah. God through him. Call upon me in the day of trouble. Yes. And I will show you great and wondrous things you have not known. You haven't known. Prayer is something glorious, stupendous. And for David, again and again, becomes the turning point. Cast your care upon him, because he cares for you. Whatever problems you have this morning, lay them down before the Lord and leave them with the Lord and move on. O Lord our God, our Heavenly Father, we ever marvel at your mercies that are new every morning. Lord, times when we have been kept and blessed, not apart from trouble, but in trouble. Oh Lord, enable us to be open to all that you would do in and through us by your grace and for your glory.